Hello students, welcome to our online video tutorial class. As you have seen the previous video I have made on the chapter Morphology of Flowering Plant, and in the previous videos we have completed the root system, shoot system as well as leaf system sequentially. So this video I have made to complete the entire portion of the flower and its structure. So this is the reproductive part of any of the flower, about what I will be discussing in this video. So let's start. First of all, before starting the floral holes, we need to know regarding the basic structural features of the flower. We all know the flower is composed of the four floral holes, or the four floral parts, and from outside to inside those are calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium. Calyx is the outermost portion, which is green in color and which is exclusively responsible for keeping the floral parts inside when it is present in the bud condition. Corolla is actually the colorful part of the flower, okay, and which is commonly made up of the units that is commonly known as petals. Then androecium, that is the male part of the flower, and gynoecium, that is the female part of the flower. So first of all, when we will be starting the structure of the flower, we need to know what is bract. Bract is actually the small leaf-like structure where it is actually present. If you see the flower, when it is attached with the stem or the branch, there is a small node-like structure or a small ring-like structure is present, by which the flower stalk, that is commonly known as pedicel, is attached with the branch or the stem. So in that specific junctional region in between the stalk of the flower and the branch, there are small leaf-like structures are present. In case of some of the flowers, it is present actually. So those are known as bract. So in case of some of the flowers, if you will see, the bract is present, so those flowers are known as bracteate. If you see in any of the flower the bract is absent, bract is obviously not present, those small leaf-like structure, so those flowers are commonly known as ebracteate flowers. Next, we all know that the stalk of the flower, which is commonly known as pedicel. Based on this pedicel presence or absence also, we have categorized the flower. First one, if you see the pedicel is present of the flower, then it is known as pedicellate. Now if you will see the flower is present without pedicel, then the flower is obviously called a sessile flower. So without pedicel, sessile flower, and if pedicel is present, pedicellate flower. Subsessile flower is a type of the flower where the pedicel is reduced. That means the total length of the pedicel is not present here, maybe the partial length or half length of the pedicel is present. Next is the bracteole. Bracteole is actually the small leaf-like structure which is present beneath the calyx portion. Keep it in your mind, beneath the calyx or below the calyx portion there is a small leaf-like structure. It is more small than the bract, or it is smaller than the bract, so for that reason its name has been given bracteole. Now in case of any of the flower, if the bracteole portion is present, on that time obviously those flowers are known as bracteolate. If the bracteole portion is absent, on that time it will be known as ebracteolate. And the last point regarding the structure of the flower, that is the thalamus or receptacle or torus. What is that? If you see any of the flower, the lower solen portion, okay, where the pedicel is actually joining, in that specific portion that is quite solen, and that is known as thalamus or torus or receptacle. So these are the portions of the flower commonly we can see from outside. Let's see the structure of the flower so that these specific portions, whatever just now I have told in this slide, those things will get clear. You can see this the structure of the flower, okay. So this is the stalk of the flower, which is commonly known as pedicel or peduncle. After that, this is the solen portion of the flower I was just talking about, that is known as thalamus or receptacle. After that, this specific green colored part, which are commonly known as, each and every single unit is known as sepal, and when they are present in a united manner, then they are forming the floral hole, outermost floral hole, that is known as the calyx. After calyx, there is the purple color here specifically. These specific structures are present which are commonly known as petals, and in a collective way those are known as corolla. After that, there is a male part which is commonly known as, these specific male parts are present which are containing a single filament with the bilobed anther at the apical portion. So these are actually androecium, and centrally located the female reproductive part with the stigma at the top, then the style, that is the filamentous part, and then the solen part, that is ovary, that is making the entire gynoecium part. Except this, if you consider this specific peduncle or pedicel is connected to a specific portion of the branch by a knot-like structure, and in that specific knot-like structure only those small leaf-like structures are commonly present. Those are known as bract. Again, just below the specific calyx portion, there should be some specific leaf-like structures also from here, wherever I am just showing you. So if those leaf-like structures are present for any of the flower, those are commonly known as bracteole. Okay, so this is overall the ideal structure of the flower and the parts whatever I have told. Coming to the next slide, and where you can see about the types of the flower. We have categorized the flower based on the various features. So let's see one by one feature. First of all, we have categorized the flower based on the number of holes. That means how many numbers of holes are present in the flower. Based on that we have categorized. First of all, if you will see the number of holes are 4, that means all total 4 holes are present properly. So on that time that flower is known as complete flower. Okay. And if you will see the flower without any of the worn hole, suppose the calyx is not present, or corolla is not present, or an androecium is not present, or even gynoecium is not present, if any of the worn hole is absent, on that time that flower is considered as a incomplete flower. As an example, it is given complete flower, that is ideal flower is hibiscus, and incomplete flower as that ideal flower is cucurbita. Okay. If you will come to the next category, we have made the category of the flower based on the equality of the holes. That means whatever the 4 holes are present in the flower, how much they are equal to each other. If all of the floral parts or all of the floral holes are equal, and if the flower is showing one kind of radial symmetry, obviously those flowers are known as actinomorphic flower. So if each and every floral hole which is present in the flower structure, if they are all equal with each other and showing radial symmetry, so then the flower is known as actinomorphic flower. Example is hibiscus. If you see that the flower with all the parts, that means all of the floral holes are present, but each and every floral hole, if you will just compare them, you will see that they are not equal, they are rather unequal. So that kind of the flower, or those kind of the flower, is commonly known as zygomorphic flower, because those kind of the flowers are commonly showing the type of the symmetry that is bilateral symmetry. Example, in case of master plant, in case of datura, in case of chili, you can see this zygomorphic nature. If you will see in case of any of the flowers where there is no symmetry, there is no comparison can be done in between the floral holes. Okay, and it cannot be divided into 2 equal halves also along the vertical plane. On that time those specific flowers are commonly known as asymmetric flower. Example is canna. Canna is such kind of flower. You can see the picture of this flower in the internet. Obviously you will see that they cannot be divided into 2 equal halves if you will just cut them vertically, and obviously you don't think about to cut the flower in a horizontal plane or in a transverse plane, so that is obviously not making 2 equal halves. Coming to the based on the sex, the type of flowers, the flowers are commonly of 2 types mainly, unisexual flower and bisexual flower. If any of the flower is containing any of the one reproductive part, either the male reproductive part or the androecium, or female reproductive part or gynoecium, then the flower is known as unisexual or dioecious flower. If you will see in case of any of the flower, both of the reproductive part, androecium and gynoecium, both are present, then those flowers are commonly known as bisexual flower. And if you will see that individually the male flower, female flower and bisexual flower all are present in the same plant body, on that time those type of flowers are commonly known as polygamous flower. So as an example, you can see unisexual flowers, cucurbita, bisexual flower, nerium, pea, and polygamous flower, that is our mangifera, that is commonly our mango. So these are the categories of the flowers based on the various types of features. Now more some specific classifications. Types of the flower based on floral appendages, that means how many floral appendages are present in the flower structure. Based on that, if you will see trimerous flower, that means you have to understand there are 3 floral appendages are present with their multiples. So for that reason they are commonly known as trimerous flower. If you will see 4 floral appendages are present with their multiple number, so obviously they are tetramerous flower. And if you will see 5 floral appendages or their multiple number of appendages are present in any of the flower, then it is commonly known as pentamerous flower. Okay. Now based on the arrangement of the holes also we have categorized the flowers. How? Suppose you can see the floral holes are arranged in a cyclic manner. On that time, that specific type of the flower is categorized within the cyclic category. Example, hibiscus, because here you will see each and every floral hole is present in a cyclic manner. Okay, acyclic, if you will see the floral holes are not properly arranged in a spiral or cyclic manner. The cyclic manner, the spiral manner is not properly maintained. On that time, that specific arrangement of the floral holes are known as acyclic. And if you see the flowers are present spirally or cyclically, okay, as both spirally and cyclically both you can see, then it is known as hemicyclic flower, which example is the rose. So based on the arrangement of the floral hole also we are categorizing the flower into cyclic, acyclic and hemicyclic. Okay, coming to the next slide. Here we are categorizing the flower based on the position of the gynoecium or the female reproductive part, or you can also consider it as a based on the relative position of the floral part on the thalamus. We have categorized the flower. So let's see. First one is a hypogynous flower. From the name you can understand that hypo means below and gynous means gynoecium. That means all of the floral hole except gynoecium are present below the ovary or present below the gynoecium. So for that reason this kind of the flowers are known as hypogynous flower. The ovary will be present superiorly and other floral hole parts will be inferior. Example, China rose. Okay. If you consider the perigynous flower, keep it in your mind, the floral holes of this specific flower is present in the same height with the ovary on the thalamus. So keep it in your mind, perigynous means the floral holes, that is androecium, then calyx, corolla, all are present almost in the same height with the ovary, okay, and they are present on the thalamus, and those floral parts are present on the rim of the thalamus, okay, they are present on the same height. So here ovary is superior and the floral parts which are present other, they are inferior. Okay, so there as an example, prunus. If you consider the epigynous flower, here the floral holes are present on the ovary. Okay, the ovary is getting inferior and other floral holes are getting superior. Example, sunflower. So you can see the figure also. This is the hypogynous. Here this is the ovary and you can see all of the part, that is calyx, corolla and androecium, they are just erupting from the base of the ovary. Okay, if you will see perigynous, B and C both are perigynous, you can see also properly. This is the ovary and here the androecium, then the petals, that means corolla and calyx, they are coming almost from the same level or from the same height. Even for this you can see the ovary portion has been just entered in a groove like structure. They are present quite more depth than the corolla, calyx and androecium. Okay, but these two type of the arrangements are considered as a perigynous arrangement. But if you see this one, you can understand properly the other floral parts, that is calyx, corolla, androecium, they are actually coming from the upper position or from the upper portion of the ovary, and the ovary is getting inferior. So these are the three types of the flowers based on the relative position of the floral holes, and according to that epigynous, perigynous and hypogynous flower category we have made. Now we are just entering within the next floral hole. So the first floral hole, rather we can say, that is the calyx, because we have discussed about various kind of flowers. We have not discussed about each and every floral hole. So now we will be discussing about each and every floral hole. First floral hole we all know, that is the calyx. It is the outermost hole, we all know. Calyx is made up of the units and those are known as sepals. If the sepals are present in united condition, then they are known as gamosepalous, and if they are present freely, on that time they are known as polysepalous. Keep it in your mind, in some of the flowers the sepals are colorful like petals. So on that time those sepals are known as petaloid. So if the sepals are getting colorful like petals or corolla, then those are known as petaloid. And what is epicalyx? If you see, there are some green sepals present at the base of the calyx. So green colored small sepals are present at the base of the calyx, so they are commonly known as epicalyx. Okay. Now if you will come to the function of the calyx, we all know calyx provides support to the thalamus. It provides support or the protection to the internal floral organ when the flower is present in budded condition. It can attract insect if it is colorful. It can perform the function of photosynthesis also, because it is green in color, that means it is containing chloroplast with chlorophyll, and it can become fleshy due to the storage of the food. So these are the common functions are shown by the outermost floral hole, that is the calyx. I think the information regarding the calyx which are written in this slide is very much, each and every information is very much clear to all of you. Coming to the next floral hole, that is corolla, that is the second outermost floral hole. Keep it in your mind, each and every unit of the corolla is known as petal, okay, and if the unit of the corolla are present in a united manner, then it is known as gamopetalous. If they are present freely, on that time they are known as polypetalous. And keep it in your mind, if the petals are sepal-like, green, on that time they are known as sepaloid, okay. So again I am repeating, the each and every unit of the corolla is known as petal. If the petals are associated with each other, they are known as gamopetalous. If they are free, polypetalous, and if the petals are green like sepals, on that time they are known as sepaloid. You can see so many types of the corolla categories or corolla varieties here. Coming to the function of the corolla, attract the insects for pollination because they are colorful, so for that reason. Sometimes they are containing scented ducts also, which is opening in the corolla, which can attract the insects. It is protecting the essential part, that is the reproductive part of the flower, androecium and gynoecium. It is creating several structures also and gives chance to the get interspecific shaped insect, okay. So it is actually producing some kind of shapes or some kind of configurations, so that specific kind of insect can enter only within this specific flower containing this corolla, who can actually responsible for pollination. Here one small information we need to keep it in our mind, that is regarding the perianth. What is perianth? In case of some of the flower, you will see that the calyx and corolla portion, they are not properly distinguished. Corolla and calyx, both of the portions have mixed with each other, they are actually just joined with each other. So that specific structure where the corolla and calyx both are joined with each other, you can't distinguish them properly, they are commonly known as perianth, okay. So each of the floral part of this specific perianth, they are not called sepal, they are not called petal, they are rather called as tepal, okay. So they will not be called as sepal, they will not be called as petal, they will be called as tepal. Here one more point we need to keep it in our mind, that if the tepals are present in free manner, then they are known as polyphylous, and if they are present in a united manner, then they are known as gamophylous. Or you can also say like that, polytepalous, gamotepalous, that also these terminologies can be also applicable. Tepals are brightly colored like the petals, and that's why they are known as petaloid. Green colored, if it will be tepal, on that time they will be known as sepaloid, because the tepals are actually the united form of the petal and sepal, na. So for that reason, if they will be towards sepal or it will be green like sepal, then they are known as sepaloid. If they will be colorful like petal, on that time they are petaloid, okay. So I think this specific slide also is very much clear to all of you. So going for the next floral hole, and that is the male reproductive organ in case of flower, that is androecium. This is the third innermost floral hole, and keep it in your mind, in each and every androecium there are two portions. One is the filamentous portion, this is called filament, and this is the anther lobe, within which the pollen grains are growing. Keep it in your mind, pollen grains are each pollen sac contains several small bodies, and those are known as pollen grain. And keep it in your mind, in case of any of the flower, if you will see the male reproductive part or the stamen is sterile, so on that time those flowers are commonly known as staminode flower, okay. Staminate, not staminode. Staminate means if the stamen is present, then they are known as staminate, but if it is sterile, on that time it will be known as staminode. If you come to the connective, you can understand both of the anther lobes, sometimes they are connected by a small bridge like structure, that is known as commonly connective. Now the point is the types of the androecium based on the connective. Based on the types of connective also the androecium types are present. Whatever the types, first type is divariegated or divergent, another one is distractile. What are these things? Divergent or divariegated is, sometimes you can see the anther lobes are separated apart by a bifurcated connective. Okay, you can see both of the anther lobes are present separately, but they are connected by a Y-shaped bifurcated connective. The connectives are joining in a single point, but those connectives are actually coming out in a Y-like manner, and the head portion of those specific connectives, the anther lobes are present. So that is known as divergent or divariegated type of connective or androecium. If you will see distractile, always keep it in your mind, when the connective is enlarged, it's quite long, you can see very carefully, and you can see both of the anther lobes on the both sides, they are present apart from each other, you can segregate them properly. So that kind of the that kind of the androecium can be also known as distractile type of androecium. Coming to the next point, types of the androecium based on the anthered lobe. How many types of anthered lobes are present? Based on that, the types of androecium we have met. If two anthered lobes are present, then the androecium is commonly known as bithecus or dithecus. If you will see the single anthered lobe is present, they are commonly known as monothecus. So bithecus or dithecus or monothecus, these are the types based on the number of anthered lobes. Second, adhesion of stamen, that means how the stamens are adhered. Based on that also we have categorized the flower. If you see, the type of the flower is called polyandrous. That means you have to understand that all of the stamens are making one group, rather they are not making the group, they are all present in a free manner, because always keep it in your mind, poly word we are using for that to make our understand that they are free. When there will be gamoandrous or like that any specific terminology, that means they will be associated with each other, okay. Or gynandrous also you can use for making us understand that those are actually present in a mass or in a group. So polyandrous means when the androus or the androeciums or the stamens are free. Example, brassica. Epipetalous, that means when the stamens are attached with petals, then it is known as epipetalous. Example, petunia. Episepalous, that means when the stamens are attached with sepals, then they are known as episepalous. Example, verbena. And gynandrous is the anther of the stamen when it is attached with the stigma of the carpel. So the anther portion of the stamen only is attached with stigma portion of the carpel. There is no other association in between other structures of the androecium and gynoecium. So they are obviously gynandrous. Example, calotropis. So this can be the adhesion of the stamen, because stamens mostly they are present in free manner, or rather they can be present, they can be attached with the petal or sepal. They cannot be forming a single group, a single mass. So for that reason, there is no other terminology like that gamoandrous, but polyandrous is present. I will be requesting you students, when you will be studying these specific types, please keep it in your mind, these examples you don't need to mug up, because these examples if you will mug up also after a certain time you will forget. So for that reason, don't try to mug up before the exam, only you will see how much possible to remember, that much only you will remember. Because regarding the examples in the board or in the normal final exam, there is not so much questions will be asked, rather in the NEET it will be asked. Now we have come to the next category, where you can see the types of the flower based on the cohesion of filament. Cohesion means adherence of the filament. If you will see the first category, that is adelphous. Adelphous means when the filaments of the anthers are attached but the anthers are free. So the anthers are free, filaments are attached. Can you understand properly? Anthers are free but filaments are attached. So on that time those kind of male reproductive parts, if it is present like this, and known as adelphous. Monoadelphous, when the filaments are attached to form a single group, then it is known as monoadelphous. Example, hibiscus. Diadelphous, when the filaments are attached and forming two different groups, then they are known as diadelphous. Example, pea. Polyadelphous. Polyadelphous means when the filaments are attached to form multiple groups, more than two groups, then they are known as polyadelphous. That means how the filaments are showing the cohesion, based on also the flowers are actually categorized into four different categories. Adelphous, to form filaments are associated, anthers are not. Monoadelphous, single group has been made. Diadelphous, two groups have been made. Polyadelphous, multiple groups have been made. Next, cohesion of anther. What is about the cohesion of anther? If the anthers are present in a bunch like manner, if their anthers are associated with each other, then it is known as cohesion of anther. And based on that also we have categorized the flower. Whatever the categories, syngenaceous and synandrous. Syngenaceous means filaments are free but the anthers are associated or attached. That means the structure is like that, the anthers are at the upper portion, they are associated but the filaments are not associated, they are free. So example, sunflower, in case of that this kind of arrangement of the filaments can be found. And synandrous is when both an filament and anther both are fused, they are commonly known as synandrous. As an example, cucurbita. So this is exclusively the classification of the flower based on cohesion of anther, where first of all filaments are associated, anthers are free, then anthers and filaments all are associated, all are fused. Okay. So I think we have understood these specific categories of the flower based on various features also. So we have come to the picture. You can see this is a polyandrous flower where the androeciums are separated from each other, they are free. There the androeciums are associated with petals, so they are known as epipetalous. Here you can see there the androeciums are attached with the leaves and those like structure, that's why it is epiphyllous. This is monoidelphous, where the androeciums are all associated in a single group. Then it is didelphous, this is a single androecium and there is another group. There it is polyadelphous because more than 2 groups are present. This is syngenaceous, where you can see the anthers are associated but filaments are free, and this is synandrous, where the anther and filament all are fused and forming this kind of structure. And this is the gynandrous, okay, where the androeciums are associated with the gynoecium or the stigma portion specifically, okay. Coming to the next part, and the next part is regarding the last floral hole or innermost floral hole, that is the gynoecium. Keep it in your mind, this is the innermost floral hole or the 4th innermost hole, and keep it in your mind, it has 3 portions. The lower portion, that is solen, that is ovary, then there is a filament like portion, that is style, and the uppermost portion, that is commonly sticky portion, that is called as stigma. Here one small information we need to keep it in our mind, that what is placenta. Placenta is just a membrane like structure or cushion like structure which is subdividing the ovarian chamber into multiple small chambers, okay, and with which the ovules remain connected. So that's why those membrane like structure or that membrane like structure which is segregating the entire ovarian chamber into multiple small chamber and with which the ovules are remain attached or ovules are taking birth, they are known as placenta. Keep it in your mind, based on the number of chambers we have categorized the ovary. As an example, unilocular, that means single ovarian chamber, bilocular means 2, trilocular means 3, tetralocular means 4, pentalocular means 5, and multilocular means more than 5 chambers are present. If you see in any of the specific flower gynoecium, the wall of the ovary after the fertilization, that is commonly known as pericarp. The wall of the ovary which is present after fertilization, that will be getting pericarp. Why? Because the ovary will be getting the fruit, and inside ovary whatever the ovules are present, those will be getting seeds. So automatically the coating of the ovary or the covering of the ovary after fertilization will be going to make the pericarp structure. Ovary will be modified into fruit, ovules will be modified into seed. Just now I have told. The style is the projection. What is that? It's arising from the ovary. And keep it in your mind, there are 2 type or 3 type of styles are present. If the style is terminal style, that means you have to understand they are arising from the terminal end of the ovary. If they are called as lateral style, that means they are arising from the one side of the ovary, they are not from the terminal end. And if they are called gynobasic style, that means they are arising from the base of the ovary, okay. Coming to the next point, that is regarding the stigma. There is the uppermost part of the gynoecium that is present at the apex, and the stigma can be bilobed or lobed, funnel shaped also, and branched or feathery, okay, and also sticky sometimes. Pistillode, if you will see in case of any of the flower, the pistil portion is sterile, on that time it is known as pistillode flower. And keep it in your mind, if the pistil or the gynoecium is present, on that time those flowers are known as pistillate flower. Pistillate is present of the pistil, and if it is sterile, on that time it is pistillode. Coming to the next slide, types of the gynoecium or the forms of the gynoecium you can see here. First of all, depending on the number of the carpels or gynoecium part in the carpels are specifically in the gynoecium number, we have categorized. First is that monocarpellary, that means single carpel is present. Bicarpellary, 2 carpels are present. 3 carpel, tetra, 4 carpels, penta, 5 carpels, and poly, more than 5 carpels are present. So based on the number of carpels or the female reproductive part, these are the various types of the flowers. If you see, depending upon the fusion property, there also we have categorized the carpels. Apocarpus, that means when the carpels are 2 or more than that in number, then they are known as apocarpus flower. As an example, aconitum. If you will go for syncarpus, that means when the carpels are 2 or more than that and they are fused, and they are commonly known as syncarpus flower. Example, petunia. And if you will see semicarpus, that means when the carpels are 2 or more than 2 in number and they are partly fused, not totally fused, partly fused, okay. That's why the semi word has come. So for that reason they are known as semicarpus. So these are the classifications of the carpels based on the fusion property, and the previous we have classified the flower based on the number of carpels, okay. Now we are coming to the next slide. Here you can see apocarpus, ovaries and carpels are separate. Semicarpus, that means half separate, half fused, and syncarpus means all are completely fused. Coming to the new feature or the new property which is found in case of plant body, that is the estivation. What is the estivation? The arrangement of the petals on the thalamus or the receptacle of the flower is commonly known as estivation. That means in case of, if you will see various kinds of flowers or if you will study various kinds of flowers, you will obviously see the arrangement of the petals in various manners. So obviously those arrangement of the petals, whatever you can see on the surface of thalamus, they are known as estivation. So whatever the types of the estivation we can see here, first one is that valvate estivation. Here you can see the margin of the petals are close enough without overlapping or without touching even. You can see here this specific estivation is the valvate, where you can see the ends of the petals, okay, or the margin of the petals are very close to each other, but they are not overlapping or they are not touching even. So that is known as valvate type of the estivation. Example, mimosa pudica plant. Twisted type of the estivation, that is a margin of the petals are overlapping. You can see here properly the margin of these petals are just overlapping each other, okay, and for that reason this specific structure has come, that is the twisted type of the estivation. Next is that you can see imbricate type of the imbricate type of the estivation. And imbricate type of the estivation, you can see three petals are present in overlapping manner. If you count properly, this is the first petal, this is the second petal, and this is the third petal. They are present in overlapping manner, and remaining two petal, both of the ends or both of the margins are present outside, and for another petal both of the margin or both of the ends are present inside. If you see properly this figure, you can understand three petals are present in overlapping manner, and one petal both of the margins are outside, another petal both of the margins are inside. So for that reason they are known as imbricate type of the estivation. Example, cassia. Cassia is the example of the imbricate estivation. If you will come to the quincuncial is a type of estivation where the two petals are external. You can see properly this petal is external and this petal is external. External means both of the edges or both of the margins will be outside, and two internal, you can see also this one and this one, these two are internal and one remain in the overlapping condition. So this one is the overlapping, okay. So for that reason two outside, two inside, and one overlapping. That's why they are known as quincuncial. Example is guava, okay. Coming to the last type of the estivation, that is vexillary estivation. Here you can see the posterior petal is overlapping, okay, and the lateral two petals, and the lateral can overlap also anterior petal, okay. The posterior petal is overlapping the lateral. So posterior petal, you can see they are overlapping the lateral, these two, and the lateral can overlap the anterior. This lateral can overlap this one anterior. So this is the anterior petal, these are the two lateral petal, and this one is posterior petal. Example is Lathyrus odoratus, that is a P. In case of that, this vexillary type of estivation can be found, okay. So this is overall the types of the arrangement of the petals on the thalamus, and based on that 5 different types, that is called estivation. Coming to the next point, that is the placentation. Placentation is actually the arrangement of the ovule or the placenta within the ovary, okay. So for that reason that is commonly known as placentation. Keep it in your mind. These are marginal placentation. Marginal placentation is that actually that the ovary is unilocular, ovules arranged marginally in one or two row. Keep it in your mind. Marginal placentation is a type of the placentation where the ovary is unilocular, that is single chamber containing, and ovules are arranged in such a manner in one or two row, okay. So the example is P. So that is the marginal placentation. I am just showing you the picture so that it will be get clear to all of you. This is the marginal placentation. You can see the ovules are present along the margin, okay. So that's why it is marginal placentation. Second, parietal placentation, that is ovary is unilocular, that is single chamber containing, and ovules are arranged such a manner along the inner surface of the ovary, that is called as parietal. So let's see parietal. The ovules are present along the inner wall of the ovary. So this is known as parietal placentation. Next example is that fumaria. Axial placentation, ovary unilocular, obviously it will be, and ovules are arranged such a manner they are centrally forming a column, and surrounding that column all of the ovules are attached. And keep it in your mind also, the ovary wall is also attached with centrally located column. So axial placentation is this one. You can see there is a centrally located column, and with the surface of the centrally located column these small ovules are connected, and also this centrally located column will be connecting with the periphery or the inner wall of the ovary with the some specific bridge like structures, okay. If you come to the free central, obviously you can understand the ovary is unilocular and ovules are arranged centrally, but no attachment is there in between the central column with the ovary wall. So this is free central. So you can see here, this is a centrally located column and that is not connected with the inner wall of the ovary, because ovules are actually arranging in such a manner and there is no ovary wall. Next, basal. Basal is a such kind of the placentation that where the ovary is unilocular, ovule is located at the base of the ovary. Keep it in your mind, the ovule which is present, that is located at the base of the ovary, and example is sunflower, and this is the basal type of the placentation. You can see basal is here. This is actually the ovules which are actually attached to the base of the ovary. This figure you can't understand, this is actually taken from upward. This is the sidewise view. So for that reason you can understand the ovules are connected to the basal portion. And sunflower it can be found. In case of apical, keep it in your mind, the ovary is unilocular and ovule located at the apical portion of the ovary. Keep it in your mind, the ovules are located such a manner at the apical portion of the ovary. You can see this one, apical portion of the ovary, this is the ovarian chamber and the ovule is connected to the apical portion. And from the upper view, if you will take the picture, it will be looking like this. So example is cannabis sativa. So overall these are the types of the placentation, that is where the ovules are present. Based on this the placentation has been made. If it is present along the marginal, if it is present along the inner wall of the ovary, parietal, if it is present along the central axis and the central axis is connected with the ovary wall by some bridges, then it is axile. If it is connected with the ovules are connected with the centrally located column and the centrally located column is not connected with the wall, then it is free central. And then if it is present at the base of the ovary, then it is basal. And if it is connected with the apical portion of the ovary or those ovules, then it is known as apical. So these are the all types of the placentation also. Clear? Now came to the last part under the flower, that is the inflorescence. Inflorescence is exclusively the arrangement of the flower along the floral axis or the stem, that is known as inflorescence. There are two types of the inflorescence are commonly present. One is racemose, another one is cymose. What is about the racemose? Here the flower arises laterally and the apical growth obviously occurs of the stem, and the flowers are present in acropetal succession. What is about the acropetal succession? You can see the flowers which are present towards the base, they are having larger stalk, but the flowers which are present towards the apex portion or the apical portion of the stem, they are having small stalks. So this kind of the succession where the old flowers will be present towards downward and the new flowers will be erupting towards the uppermost portion, so that arrangement is known as acropetal succession, and it is found in case of racemose type of the inflorescence. If you consider the cymose, obviously the flower is present at the top, at the terminal end of the stem, flower will be always there, and growth of the flower in basipetal mode. That means from the upper to the lower, you will see the old to the new flower. That is known as basipetal mode. In case of racemose, so first point we will be keep it in our mind that if at the apical portion of the stem there should not be any flower. For cymose, obviously at the apical portion flower will be present, and here the flowers are arranged in a acropetal manner in case of racemose. In case of cymose, the flowers are arranged in a basipetal succession or basipetal mode. Okay, so this is overall the types of the inflorescence, racemose and cymose. After this flower, there is a next part, that is regarding the fruit and seed. So regarding fruit and seed we will be discussing into the next video. I think whatever the portion we have discussed in this specific video, we have understood properly, and I think you people have enjoyed this video a lot, and thank you everyone for watching this video. Thanks a lot. Bye everyone.